The last couple of years, she's probably got more comfortable understanding about, how to play the game. Myself, how to get up each week and be consistent. So that's the thing I've been pleased with this year, is probably just the consistency.
How did you rank it though, the game itself, for you personally?
Oh, it's hard to tell, and I always don't rather be talking about the team. But I think every time you can contribute to the game and do what you're meant to be doing and bring your teammates into the game, I'm always pretty happy with that. So it's probably, it's one of the better games, but it's nothing outstanding. Still got a bit more, still want to keep working on, mate.
And where's this form come from? Is it because you had a good pre-season and no injuries?
I've always tend to have a pretty good, when I say pretty good pre-season, tend to do most of the work, which I think is always really important. And then it's just throughout the year making sure that you're still getting enough work through training and getting better. But I think it's just a bit of, just a bit more, myself just having a bit more clarity in football. You probably get to a point as well where you realise footy's closer to the end, so you probably enjoy it a little bit more. When you first start and through your middle career, you're probably a bit more, I was a bit more, let's make every post a winner, everything's very serious, whereas now it's like, well, still to enjoy football and play it for how it is, and that's what I've tended to try to do. Still when you're training, still making sure you do the best you can, but still try to have a little bit of enjoyment in there.
What about the medal? Were you a little bit surprised that one of the judges didn't give you a vote, given the others gave you best on ground?
Nah, that doesn't bother me, mate. Seriously. I'm just happy with the way that we've been playing as a team. I think that's why we're going how we're going. Blokes understanding about football with bringing each other into the game. I think that we understand now that it's not an individual game, it's playing team football and different ways you can play it, and that's what we've been doing, and hopefully we can continue to keep doing that.
What was it like sharing it with Lockie, especially after the build-up?
Yeah.
With all the medals?
It's fine, mate. It's really good. I mean, there's a lot of very good players, and Lockie's been a fantastic player probably for the last 3 years and played well on the weekend. So, from my perspective, whether it was an outright, a shared, or 3 people winning it, it's something great to receive, but it's not what trying to play footy for in the end.
You're a 2-time winner now. Are you pretty happy that the medal will continue, although slightly?
Well, it's been a big debate past week. Ever since I've been here, it's always been there's always been a medal presented as such. So I think it's one of those things for Showdown has it, the Derby as well. So it's great to be able to, I suppose, have a medal of some degree. But I'm sure people higher above me will be able to sort out how they want to go about it.
How is it rated within the club, the Glendinning medal? Is it something that players cherish?
Well, Ross has been involved in footy for a long time on that West Coast, and he's been here and such a great person. So it's something that you see him in the corridors, and you get to have a good chat with him, and it's good. So I think both clubs and state enjoy it. So, but as I touched on before, so I think it's not what the players play for as such, so respect it and how it is.
Shannon, you talk about the team. Matthew Lloyd said this morning he thinks you guys can make the top 4 now after good form.
Yeah.
What do you think is possible for
Well, anything is possible, and that's what we always try to speak about, especially now understand you get older, is you can be doing the right things and things don't go your way, and at the moment it's going our way. So all we've been talking about really as a club and as senior players is just making sure that we keep playing that team football, playing a style that we want to do, and at the moment we're winning and it's keeping us in games, and hopefully that will continue going forward. So it's still a long way to go, but I think if we do that, the percentages are in your favour and you win more than you lose.
And I think a 5-1 start is really good, history shows. Do you feel that as players? Do you get the confidence and then you feel you can go forward with that?
Yeah, you don't want to be losing games at the start of the year. I think you're always chasing them up. I think that happened a little bit last year. We started okay and then just had a poor middle period and then had to chase games. So starting the way we've started is fantastic. The game will probably change a bit more. Teams probably give you a bit more, I suppose, focus when they play you about how can we stop them, how can we play. So we'll have different challenges coming up, but certainly it is a great way to start.
It looks like a really testing month coming up. You've got Port Adelaide and then I think GWS and Richmond and falls
Yeah.
on.
Yep.
So do you
Yep.
feel like your season could be defined perhaps in the next month?
Well, it could be defined how we started the year in next 4 months and next 4 games. So it's always football always has challenging periods in it. No doubt coming up, we've got some good teams that are playing some very good football. So we'll have to make sure that we're at our best. But really, it's just about making sure each week, as I touched on, and I know it sounds like I'm harping on it, if we're playing team football, preparing well, and doing what we're meant to be doing, I think that's why we've been successful. If we could continue to do that, I think the results take care of themselves. But it's just making sure that, if you're going poorly or very well, making sure you keep trying to stay in the moment and doing the things that you need to do to make sure you prepare yourself.
What's changed this year? Because you look far more dangerous through the midfield. Your forwards getting more supply. That.
Yep. Probably a great question. I think a little bit having Nick and Scotty Lyson in there tends to help a little bit for sure. But I think just in general, like as I said, players are just a year older, understand more about the importance of doing your bit for football. So if someone's on fire, block for him so he can win a clearance and get the ball going inside 50. Vice versa, if you're not having a good day, you can still tackle, impact, block, shepherd. And that's what I think players now really understand. It's not just about, well, if I'm going well, it's really good. It's just about, well, how can we help the team perform the best it can? And I think that's what's been showing out this year, and that's something we worked on last year as well.
There's a couple of crucial plays late in the derby that you were involved in. Did you have a sense of where the game was at and that this had to be done right, had to be done well, sort of thing?
Yeah.
The one where you used your feet to bring it past.
Well, you always have a little bit of an understanding of how the game is. I mean, you don't want to get fixated by it, but the timing of the games and the score, you have to have an idea. I think we got 4 goals up, and we just had to kick another goal. We just didn't. Fremantle played well and kicked a couple and got back into it. So, from that point of view, it's just making sure that. Yes, it is important, that contest, but Woosha always gave the best advice last minute or the first minute of the game. It's always an important contest, and that's just how I try to treat the football as such. But it's just been, as I said, pleased with the back line. I think it's working well together, which is great. And then even up forward, I think blokes are working for each other, just providing a dangerous forward line, which is helping our scores.
Did you have a sense of relief when Fife missed from straight in front? Did you have a feeling of dodged the bullet?
Not really from memory. It's just about playing the game. It's just about playing the game, mate. If he kicked it, well, away we go again. And if he missed it, just kick it in, and we'll be all right.
Now, after the match, there was an incident involving an Eagles fan setting fire to a Dockers jumper.
Yeah.
As the captain of the club, how do you feel about that?
Well, it's not. Ideally, it's not great with everything that goes on in society. That type of stuff about trying to set a good example, be a good role model. That's what we're trying to do as players, and that's what we'd like. So ideally, it's not great. People get excited and get pretty happy. So it's just about trying to make sure people do the right thing, pretty much.
Do you think some people take on the derby rivalry too much, almost like it becomes something like that?
I don't. I really don't know. I know ever since like in WA, people really get excited about the derbies and bragging rights at work and the way they work about it, and that's no different back in South Australia. So some people take their footy very seriously, and other people just enjoy going and watching the spectacle. So it's a little bit out of our control, but that's why it's important that we keep talking about as a playing group. Whenever you're out in public, representing the club, wherever it is, just always trying to do the right thing.
So fans who think of stuff like that, would you say to them, just that's crossing the line, that's going too far, setting fire to a jumper?
You always want your fans to be excited and support you, but it probably is a bit too far, Barrett. But that's a little bit of our control, a little bit. I think people in general love come and watch football play, have it played in the right way, which I think it was yesterday. But sometimes that just happens. It just happens, mate. We don't condone it, but it'd be great if people can come and be really respectful at football.
How did Jetta pull up? We saw our scans this morning.
Yeah, well, that'll find out. That'll find out more today going forward. So I think he missed the last half of the quarter, did he? So
yes.
Yeah, he didn't come off. Yeah, so he'll just have to see how it goes. I mean, came back from having a missed week. I still think he'll be fine. So we just have to wait and see how he goes through during the week.
Overall, how sore were you guys coming out? Derbies are always tough games, we know, but...
Yeah. We'll see today after we've had a bit of recovery, but they probably are played a little bit more at a higher intensity, a little bit more physicality. So I think once you've played 4 or 5 games during the year, you probably get used to that. So I think most blokes are pulled up, generally fine.
But a 6-day break going into Port Adelaide, is that recovery going to be a massive focus?
Yes, it always is a little bit after each game. Our fitness staff and Warren Cofer do a very good job with that. So early in the week's probably more about recovery, and then whatever you can fit into training in the middle of the week. So it'll be about recovery, making sure we still get some good training, probably not as high a volume, and then away we go for Port Adelaide.
What do you make of them coming in?
I think they're a very talented and dangerous team. I've been unfortunate I've lost Hartlett and I think Wingard potentially. So they've still got some very good players, especially up in their forward line and midfield, and the back line works together well. So it's going to be another great challenge, but as we see each week, it's just whoever is switched on and stays focused for most of the game tends to be able to win. So that'll be no different than what we're going to try to do and what Port will be trying to do.
Going into the derby, there was some talk that 3 or 4 of your stars were under the pump and may not play. Were any of them touch and go? Did any of them just
most of them all trained before the game, and I understand Josh Kennedy was spoken about, one of them, but he's always had a bit of a monitored training base in the past couple of years and coming off the pre-season he's had. So there's always something that gets made of it. Players are always great at finding a way to get up for games, but potentially for training they just go, oh no, it's still a bit sore, I'm not going to train. But blokes look after themselves well, and it's just you probably need 4 or 5 days, and your last 2 days you tend to come pretty good.
Port Adelaide said that they're going to consider Optus Stadium's hardness in their selection this week.
Yep.
Do you think that's does that add sort of add to the home ground advantage?
Well, it can for, I suppose Subiaco had different dimensions, and that was always spoken about. And Optus Stadium similar to all the Melbourne grounds. It's a touch firmer than normal, but whether or not teams want to take that into account, that's what they'd like to do. But I think our style of football that we're playing's working quite well, and doesn't matter where you play, it should work.
Personally, how have you been putting up in games just in relation to the surface? Yeah,
it gets spoken about a lot. It is a touch firmer than the other grounds. I mean, we played at the MCG. That seemed to be just a touch softer. But I always grew up playing cricket and back home, and I've always liked a bit of a firmer surface. So I tend to like it. I think the stadium's done quite well. When we trained there, when cricket was going on, that was quite hard. But I think now it's at a pretty good level.
And they're going to grow the ryegrass a bit longer.
Oh, okay, so. Yeah, to try soften a bit. Yeah, I think because it's about, it gets spoken about a lot, but it's about trying to make sure that you don't want to be unnecessary hard, so people are at more risk of injury. But there's always a risk of injury. Doesn't matter, soft or hard surface. So they'll be able to get that sorted out. But from my point of view and players' point of view, I think it's they're pretty happy with it.
JK beat Sooners record.
Yeah.
How's he feeling this morning?
I'm not sure. He probably might have been telling Summer all about it last night. But it is fantastic for Josh to be able to do that. Coming over from Carlton, just took a couple of years to probably get himself right and understand how good a player he can be. And he's worked really hard for a 3 or 4 year period, and it's shown in his last 4 years. Just kicking big bags of goals, being really consistent for us. So it's a great effort for Josh.
Do you think it's probably taken the weight off his shoulders a bit? He's a little bit quiet maybe last week, and now he's past it, really relaxed a bit?
Potentially. Yeah, potentially. I think Josh understands the importance again of the team stuff. I mean, we always have a bit of a joke about it when he kicks 10 goals, kicks a lot of goals. It's great, and it's something that he'll probably really enjoy when he's finished playing his career. But he's more about the team. I think that's why the forward line's functioning quite well. Last week, second game back, which is always sometimes a little bit difficult sometimes. But no doubt he's probably past that, and it'll just be something that won't distract him, I suppose.